as you already know, my name is Theodore, and today we are going to look at group policy objects and organizational units, or OUs. So what is group policy object? It is a collection of settings, and I do mean a whole lot of settings that define how a system will behave for a specific group of users. So you are going to select those users, and we are going to use a snap-in in our Windows server here to configure those settings for those users. Now, why would you want to do this? It is a security feature that will not allow employees or end users to do admin stuff like install programs or mess with a task manager or whatever you set it to, because the last thing you want are multiple users crashing their systems in one day. This is going to save you a lot of time. So let's get right into this. So now we're just going to take a look at our server manager here, and we are going to be, as you can see, our domain is ironstorm.com. Yours will be whatever you name it, and we're going to be doing everything on this domain. And we will be using Active Directory users. So let's open up Administrative Tools and go directly to Group Policy Management. And we're going to open up Active Directory users and computers as well. Alright, and we'll just wait for it to open. So let me just minimize this. And as you can see, in Group Policy Management, my forest here is the ironstorm.com domain. And I click the box, the plus sign, let it expand. And now we're going to go to domains, and we're going to go to ironstorm.com, or whatever your domain name is. So now I'm going to right click on the ironstorm.com domain, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to click here, New Organizational Unit, or OU. And what this does, the idea here is to group users into large groups called organizational units, and you assign permissions to these groups and other security features. This is much easier than just assigning permissions and security features to a user. So the idea here is to group everyone off. So just for this tutorial, I'm going to call this tutorial OU. Let's click OK. So now if I click the plus sign on the ironstorm.com domain here, you would see the tutorial organizational unit I just created. So the next step for us to do is go to Group Policy Objects, and go ahead and right click on that and click New. You could name this whatever you liked. I'm just going to call mine class GPO. And there it's. So when I go ahead and I click on Group Policy Objects here, you will see my class GPO that I just created for my ironstorm.com domain. And as you can see here, the domain owner is the administrator, which is me. So now we haven't changed anything much as yet. So now what we're going to do, so now we are going to set the security permissions for the organizational unit. So we're going to right click here. So I'm going to right click on Edit, and we are going to get right into the user configuration, and we go to preferences, and you can see we have control panel settings, internet settings, folder options, network options, even printer settings. We have schedule task, start menu settings. There's a whole lot of settings that's provided for us in here. Even when we click on Windows settings, you see the settings for the application, network drives, folders, registry, even shortcuts. It's a ridiculous amount of options and settings in here for us to configure. So if we click on policies, and we go to software settings, go to Windows settings, you can see there's a whole lot of security settings and other features inside here that we could configure. So if we go to administrative templates here and click on control panel, and we click on add remove programs here, you can see the amount of different features in here that you could hide. You could hide the add remove Windows components, remove support information, hide add new programs page. All of this will be hidden from the end user on their workstation. So the buttons may appear grayed out, or it just won't be there. Excellent security feature if you don't want users installing or removing programs without administrator's permission. And we could go on, we could go into printers, a whole lot of security features here as well. Programs, regional and language options, desktop. I mean, it's the amount of different options here in the GPO management editor is ridiculous. You could spend hours and hours, you could spend a whole day in here just refining and configuring all these features to get it just right, just the way you want it, or just the way a company may want it. And some companies will even hire you just to do this, the more refined you get at it. So let's go to administrative templates and go to all settings. Here you can see all the settings possible. All the access data sources, Active Directory, domain and trust. You could even add settings at the run command, start menu, options for all processes, allow active scripting. Let's do something special for this tutorial. Let's show you. Let's remove something. Let's remove the add or remove programs. So now if I double click on this, you would see add or remove programs not configured. So what I would want to do to configure this is enable it. And if you click on the explain tab here, you would see the setting removes the add or remove programs from control panel and removes the add or remove programs from the item menus. And if you click on disable or do not configure it, add or remove programs will be available to all users. So you get the idea of what you're doing. It's good to read some of this stuff and then go ahead and apply and OK. And next, let's try remove the all programs list from the start menu. So click on that. Let's click enable. Let's check out the explanation. If you enable this setting, the all programs items is removed from the simple start menu. If you click on disable or do not configure it, the all programs item remains, and of course for all users. So let's apply this as well. And OK. So now let's just close off some of this. We have selected the features we wanted. just exit off this. And now we're going to link our group policy object with our tutorial organizational unit that we created earlier. And now we're going to select the class GPO that we just created and click on OK. And now our tutorial OU is linked with our class GPU. Say OK to this. Now we haven't exactly done anything here as yet. Let's see. Let's log in with a user and see if anything has been affected as yet. So now I am on a client workstation. Logged in as Theodore, and as you can see, we wanted to remove all programs, but it is still here, and as well I'd remove programs, and it's all here still. And you might be wondering why, because now we didn't link anything. Now what we have to do, we have to go back to our Windows server, and we are going to assign our users to the organizational unit that we created, which contains the link for the GPOs that we also created earlier. So let's go back to our server. So now back on our server, we already needed everything we needed to do with our group policy management. So we're just going to close this off and go to Active Directory Users and Computers. You should already know how to come here. And we're just going to refresh our Active Directory here. Click on Active Directory and refresh. And as you can see, our tutorial OU organizational unit has been added in our Active Directory under our ironstorm.com domain. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add a user here to tutorial OU. So just double click on users and come down and select a user. Let's select John Theodore, we logged in with just now. Right click and go to move, and in the list here we just click on tutorial OU and click OK. And as you can see, John Theodore has been removed from this panel here, and when we click on tutorial OU, you can see he has been added into the tutorial OU or organizational unit. And everything we had set in for the GPU under the tutorial organizational unit will affect everyone inside here. We selected remove all programs, and we selected add removed programs, and luckily John Theodore here is the only one in this group that is going to be affected. Again, you can put any user in here that you want those policies to be applied to. So now we are going to go back to our client workstation and log in as John Theodore. So here's an open session. John Theodore is running, and as you can see, the options here are still available, all programs, and I'm sure add remove programs is still here as well. It is still available. So what you're going to do in the Windows world, you have to log off and log on, because remember, you changed your settings on the server a minute ago while John Theodore was working here on his workstation, not doing anything. So you have to ask him to log off so the features can be enabled and put into effect. So he just log off here, and just allow him to log back in. you'll see Windows will apply these settings. So now, as you can see, just as we predicted, all programs button is gone. It's no longer there. He cannot access all programs, so that he can't mess with any of the programs. And in Control Panel, add remove programs. As you can see, although he was able to click into it, all the programs have disappeared. So he can't add or remove a program. There are no buttons, nothing to to edit, to uninstall, nothing. So only an administrator can grant John Theodore or your end user these security features. And that's it for this group policy objects. And just imagine the control all of these options could allow you. Imagine if you disable the CD-ROM on all of your users' machine, or disable the flash drive ports. So no one could bring any software from outside and install it via CD or flash drive. You already limit and narrow down the different options of threats coming in to your workstations. And that's a very big thing, and this is what companies pay